All right, guys, it's Paul Singh, the market speculator with bullsonwallstreet.com, the free swing weekly report. Let's take a look at SPY here. Not a great end to the week. Now, we have been warning for a little while here that market breadth was weak, meaning the indexes look strong, but underneath the hood, there were some concerns. We were seeing some areas that were not doing so good, specifically the reopen areas like jets, airlines, casinos, hotels, hospitality, restaurants, all that stuff, pretty weak. And some other areas as well. Tech was slowing down a little bit. And what was really telling here is, one, the difference between SPY, and you can see what SPY was doing here, and IWM, which is small caps. And you can see as SPY was still going up, small caps were going down already, and that is not a good sign for the market. SPY started to go down right over here. IWM has basically been going down since early to mid-June. So that was a concern. And also, we talk about this all the time, the equally weighted ETFs. SPY is not equally weighted. Apple is weighted the most at around 3%. And the top 10 make up close to 25-30% of SPY. RSP takes care of that by giving everything an equal weighting of 0.2%. So if we look at SPY RSP here, it was already much weaker. It hadn't gotten to all-time highs as SPY had. So basically we see like a straight line here with RSP, and we were seeing the uptrend in SPY, and that is not a good signal. We want to see broad-based rallies. Usually at the end of rallies, we see a narrowing, and that's what was happening. And then Friday came the big move here. It's actually kind of a two-day move here. And what's concerning here is, one, the strength of the move, and two, is that it's breaking a key level, which is the 9 EMA. So looks very much like we could potentially see a test of the 50-day moving average, which since the pandemic low has been a good buy the dip opportunity. We'll see if that continues. Even when it starts to look like it's breaking down, it comes back very quickly. So watch to see here. Do we test and bounce very quickly like we did here, here? Or do we actually break through it, but then watch for the remount? And if we remount, obviously that's another very good buying opportunity. Any spot where it has been, looked like it was breaking down, but then remounts, that's a very good buy opportunity. So let's watch for that. Know where all your support levels are. Here, the keys are the 50-day moving average, which is pretty close to this old high range, which also has a lot of support in here. So good spot here. If we can pull back here and hold, this could be a continuation pattern. We'll see. We've got earnings coming up. Now, what has been a little bit of concerning as well is that we've had some good earnings, but price reactions haven't been good. And that can be taken as a positive or a negative. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's quickly look at the Qs here. Look at the Qs, even more extended and more room to drop before it would hit the 50-day moving average, which almost exactly corresponds with the old high range from April. So we could see some volatility in tech as well. Obviously, it'd be great if we get a quick rebound in the 9 EMA and continue higher. At these extended levels, it almost might be better if we get a little bit of a pullback for the market. And we're starting up earnings season. And one of the interesting things about earnings season with the banks reporting, and a lot of the banks posted pretty good numbers. So we have Goldman Sachs here, Morgan Stanley. You see their price reactions, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Their price reactions have been either okay or weak, and we can look at XLF as well, the financials ETF, but their actual earnings were pretty good, and guidances were really good as well. Same goes for some of the airlines that have already reported. So Delta and AAL both reported pretty positive earnings, and we're seeing negativity in the price action. So that can take, that we can look at that two ways. One, good news, but price reaction has been bad. That's usually not a good thing. But we also see it as, if banks and airlines are doing pretty good, that's saying something for the economy as well. So we're gonna have to wait and watch, see what happens here. Be very cautious right now. I haven't been adding positions. Now this week, big week. Let's pull up big tech here real quick, and we can see some of the earnings dates here. We've got Netflix reporting on Tuesday. That's 7:20. Then a bunch of these guys, Google, Microsoft, Apple, on the 27th. We have Tesla on the 26th. We've got Facebook on the 28th, Twitter on the 22nd, Amazon 29th, AMD 29th. So this week and the following week, big week for big tech. We are definitely going to be watching how these things respond and potentially making trades in the stock. So we're going to watch big tech very closely this coming week, and it all starts with Netflix on Tuesday. Okay, let's get to a couple other things here. Industries we're watching. I'm always looking for relative strength with the markets week, and honestly, I haven't seen a whole lot, mostly in healthcare and biotech. So IBB showing some relative strength, bouncing. These all look very similar. IHI, which is medical devices, bouncing. XLV here, which is healthcare, is showing a lot of relative strength. So this area has been strong, at least in the last few days. I had it filtered for what were the best performers of the 5 days. Healthcare looking pretty good right now. So we should obviously pay attention to that area. Anytime we have something like this going on in the market, we want to see what is showing relative strength. And let's take a look now at the NASDAQ 100. We're going to take the top 10 or 20 here, filter it by the best performers within the NASDAQ 100 over the last 5 days. And that helps with the last 2-day dip. A lot of those will be in this area. So mRNA pretty much doesn't even know what's happening in the market. I always try to look at it that way. If I were to look at this stock, would I know what's going on in the market? And the answer is no. mRNA is on fire. Now, oftentimes at extended levels, when you see a high volume gap up, that can be an exhaustion gap. And actually, if this thing were to gap down tomorrow or put in a negative candle pattern, it actually could be a quick runner short, even though it's showing a lot of relative strength. Pepsi, this makes sense. Flight to safety, the big safe dividend type stocks. NTES, there's been a lot of turmoil with the China stocks that are listed on American exchanges, especially tech. They've been hit a little bit. Baba, Baidu, NTES has kind of thwarted that. And so this one's looking pretty strong, definitely on our watch. Monster Beverages, looking pretty good, might be a continuation pattern. VRSK, I know very little about this stock, and the pattern doesn't really appeal to me that much, so we'll skip that one. JD, specialty retail, wouldn't touch it unless it crosses the 50-day moving average. KDP, beverages, soft drinks. Keurig Dr. Pepper, a little bit more volatile than, say, a slow stock like Pepsi, and putting in a continuation pattern on the remount of the 50-day moving average. So the most interesting so far of the top 7 we've looked at are mRNA with that potential exhaustion gap and KDP. These are 2 stocks I'm watching very closely as we head into the new week. AEP as well, utilities, looks like a remount of the 50-day moving average. Not necessarily a continuation pattern because it's within this big range, but looks like it might be setting up for a run here. EXC, potential continuation pattern again in utilities. This one's a little more volatile. TMUS, nice continuation pattern here. VRTX Biotech, this is one of the leaders here over the last 5 days, but I see nothing in the pattern that would get me interested here. DXCM is interesting. I'm skipping a few of these that I know I'm not interested in, but DXCM is right up here near its all-time high. So it'll be very interesting to see if this one can break. That might set it up. And, when you have these things that have like a year-long big consolidation and they break their high, that often will set up the next run. So DXCM, KDP, we've looked at approximately 15 of them now. The ones that really interest me right now, mRNA, KDP, DXCM, and Orly here has already broke the highs. A little extended, but I will be watching this one as well. Let's skip down to Google here. Has earnings coming up, but this thing has been on fire. Continues to break 2 new highs. So you can do the same thing for, I like every weekend I do this for the small caps as well, and also the S&P 500. I found the NASDAQ to be most interesting this week. So there's 3 or 4 stocks we can be watching. Also pay attention to biotech. Pay attention to healthcare. We've got earnings coming up. Be cautious, and then we'll wait to see if there's good opportunity in the market. Again, a couple of things we're looking for. If it does pull back Does it hold these ranges, or does it very quickly remount the 9 and get back on trend?